So you're here wondering what Bitcoin and Web3 are all about. Trust me, you are not the only one. By the end of this video, you'll see how these two things are connected and why they matter more than ever right now. First, we'll start with Bitcoin, what it is and why it exists. And then we'll talk through how the internet itself has changed over time, leading up to something called Web3. We'll talk about new tech like smart contracts and digital tokens and how people today are using crypto in totally new ways. At the end, we'll tie it all together to show you how Web3 could change how we live, work, and connect online. Let's start where it all began back with Bitcoin in 2009. Someone using the name Satoshi Nakamoto launched Bitcoin as a new kind of money. But unlike regular money, Bitcoin isn't controlled by a bank or government. According to PwC, banks have definitely now gotten an understanding of Bitcoin, as you can see from this article from PwC, showing that Bitcoin uses a special kind of technology called blockchain, a digital record or book that everyone can see, but no one can secretly change. New Bitcoins are created through mining, where people use powerful computers to solve puzzles and keep the system running. And because it's all decentralized, no one person or company is in charge. The idea of cutting out the middleman is what kicked off the entire movement towards Web3. So now that we've covered how Bitcoin got started, let's take a step back and talk about the internet itself, because Web3 isn't just about crypto, it's about the whole new internet. In the beginning, there was Web 1.0. There was this early version of the internet, and it was mostly used to read stuff. Websites were like digital books. No comments, no likes, just plain information. You could look up facts, but you couldn't do much else. Then came Web 2, which is what most of us use today. That's where things got more fun. We could post pictures, share videos, write reviews, and talk to people online. Social media, YouTube, online shopping, all of that is part of Web 2.0 or Web 2. But here's the catch. Most of this is controlled by a few really big companies. According to Harvard Business Review, and information that most of us know already at this point, those companies collect tons of data from us. They use it to make money, and then they get to make all of the rules on Web 2. That's why people started thinking about something better, Web 3. It's a new idea for the internet where you own your own data. You control your identity and don't have to rely on one big company to use an app or play a game. Web 3 is still growing, but it's already changing how we think about being online. So now that we know Web 3 is all about giving power back to users, let's talk about what actually makes it work. According to McKinsey, Web 3 is built on three big ideas: blockchains, smart contracts, and something called token economies. That might sound like a lot, but don't worry, we're going to break it down super simple. First, Web 3 runs on blockchains, which are like super secure digital notebooks that everyone can see, but nobody can change. Instead of a company owning the notebook, it's shared across tons of computers, making it decentralized. That means there's no single boss in charge. Next up, smart contracts. These are like tiny robot programs that follow if this, then that rules. So for example, if you finish a level in a Web3 video game, a smart contract could automatically reward you with a token with no middleman needed. Then there are dApps, or decentralized apps. These work like the applications on your phone, but no single company owns them. And with tokens, users can earn rewards based on the application changes, or even buy digital stuff like music, art, or event tickets. Basically, Web3 gives us tools to not just use the internet, but to help run it, and maybe even own a piece of it. So now that we understand how Web3 works, let's bring Bitcoin back into the picture, because without it, Web3 might not even exist. According to this article from BitGet, Bitcoin didn't just give us digital money, it gave us a whole new way to think about the internet. When Bitcoin launched, it showed that you could move value across the internet without needing a bank. That idea, cutting out the middleman, is what inspired Web3. Just like Bitcoin running on a public blockchain that no single company controls, Web3 is built on blockchains to give power back to the people. Bitcoin's success also helped kick off a big movement called DeFi, which stands for decentralized finance. This just means that people can now borrow, lend, or earn money using crypto without needing a bank at all. Web3 takes this even further by letting developers build all kinds of tools like games, music platforms, and video applications that run on these same ideas. In Web3, tokens work a lot like money. They reward users for helping out, whether it's sharing files, running an app, or creating content. These aren't just random coins, they're a way to keep the whole system running. So in a lot of ways, Bitcoin planted the seed, and now Web3 is growing into something much, much bigger. So now that we've seen how Bitcoin and Web3 started, let's talk about what's happening right now, because 2025 is a big year for both. According to TechTarget, one of the biggest trends is how AI and Web3 are teaming up. This means that artificial intelligence is helping helping Web3 apps run smarter and faster. For example, AI can help manage data, improve security, and even create content. It's like giving Web3 a super brain. Another really cool thing that's happening is tokenization. That's just a fancy word for turning real-world stuff like houses, art, or sneakers into digital items that you can buy, sell, or trade online. This makes owning and moving things around very easy and much faster, all on the blockchain. And when it comes to money, cryptocurrencies are becoming more normal. More people are using them to shop, spend money, and invest. Businesses are also starting to use crypto to power their websites, applications, and customer rewards. All of this means that Web3 isn't just an idea anymore. It's becoming part of everyday life, whether it's digital art, online games, or even how we vote. Web3 and Bitcoin are starting to change the way we live and interact online. And the best part, it's still just the beginning. So while Bitcoin and Web3 sound super exciting, not everyone is totally on board. Let's talk about some of the problems and why people are still a little unsure about it all. First off, one of the biggest issues is how much energy Bitcoin uses. To create Bitcoins, computers have to solve really hard puzzles, and this is called mining. It takes tons of electricity, and some people say that it's really bad for the environment, especially when the energy comes from non-renewable sources. Another thing people worry about is how decentralized Web3 really is. The whole idea is that no one person or company controls everything, but in reality, a lot of Web3 projects are still managed by just a few developers or big investors. So even though it feels different from Web 2.0, some say that it's just the same thing with new technology. According to this video and description of it on Wikipedia, NFTs and some Web3 tools also got super hyped up and then crashed. Some people lost money and others felt like they were scammed. That made a lot of people question if Web3 is really about helping users or just making money fast. So yeah, Bitcoin and Web3 are big ideas, but they're not perfect. And if they're gonna shape the future, they've still got some stuff to, well, figure out. Even with the challenges we just talked about, it's clear that Bitcoin and Web3 are changing the world in really big ways. We've gone from simple websites in Web 1 to interactive applications in Web 2, and now in Web 3, we've got a space where people can truly own their data, their money, and even the platforms that they use. This shift isn't just about tech, it's about power moving from big companies to everyday users like you and me. Bitcoin kicked off this whole movement by showing that we don't need banks to send money. And now Web3 is expanding that idea to all parts of the internet. I, for one, am really glad that Bitcoin started off this Web3 movement. If you're actually trying to buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of those other coins, I'll leave links to Coinbase and crypto.com where you can get $50 of crypto just for signing up with those links. And if you're interested in meme coins, I recommend you check out MoonShot. I'll also leave a link to that as well where you can get some free meme coins just for signing up. If you learned something new and enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date with more crypto, make sure to hit subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.